job, guys.
And now, the most famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome, race fans, out to Las Vegas Speedway. And tonight in the booth with me, as usual on Wednesday nights, Al Smith Jr. How you doing, Al?
Doing great. Love coming out to the West Coast, Steve. Beautiful weather out here tonight for this 120-lap event. Race number 1 in tonight's chase for the Lazy Dayz Racing Xfinity Series. Steve, how was your travels out here?
Pretty good. Long flight as usual. Let's, while we're waiting for these times to start rolling in, why don't you go through our chase drivers for the night?
Alright, as we mentioned earlier, tonight is race 1 of 2 in this first round of 12. We have Eric Barilli in the chase, along with David Gainforth, Ryan Gamel, Daniel Haney, Keith Haney, Brad Hicks, your overall regular season points champion, David Howard Jr., Justin McDuff, Joe Mitchell, Michael Palmer, Chris Simard, and Dean Viney, your 12 drivers that are going for the championship, Steve. And after this first round, we will be cutting that down to 8. So a lot on the line in these first 2 races of the chase.
And we talked with Keith Haney, I believe it was, I don't remember when it was exactly, but he was saying how bummed he was about not being able to make the chase here in the Xfinity series, but there was a late season withdrawal from a driver, and that opened the spot for Keith Haney.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the drivers wouldn't be able to compete in the championship series, so withdrawing and opening up the spot. So Keith Haney gets to slide up into that spot after a horrendous race last week at Auto Club Speedway, where he didn't really have much good luck, but hoping to turn that around here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
So right now, look at that. Keith Haney is on the pole at the moment.
Yeah, right now your top 4 drivers are all Xfinity drivers. You got Keith Haney with a quick time of a 29.679 at the moment. Michael Palmer sitting second. Justin McDuff third. Fourth, Eric Barilli and Chris Simard, your top 5. So the Xfinity chasers have come to play and are taking up the first 5 spots in qualifying so far, with just a little bit over 2 minutes to go, Steve. So it's quite interesting to see that the first non-chaser is the number 18 VermontFantasyRacing.com of AJ Hamill. So he's sitting 7th, followed by Adam Baker, David Howard, and Kevin Cornelius sitting there in 10th. So a lot of chasers up towards the front of this.
And Al, I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of last night's race. Last night, with the Southern Motorsport Truck Series, they started their chase over there as well. We only had 3 chase drivers finish that race.
I didn't catch that, but that's definitely going. Those first the top 3 drivers that finished, well, those guys might have a little bit of a cushion over the rest of them, but it's definitely tonight's going to make it or break it, because looking at the schedule, the next race, the elimination race, is at Talladega, Steve. One of the as I would call, a wild card event, as what happens on those super speedways.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how your season's gone, you can get a win at a super speedway. I'm pretty sure, running in the Cup League over here, I've got to say, I think I've got a 2nd place finish at, I believe it was Summer Daytona, and I think that pretty much solidified my chance in getting into the chase over there. So, one super speedway can change a whole season for guys.
Oh, absolutely. It can make it an upswing, or it can make it one of those where you have a headache the rest of the season, as it'll knock you out of the chase if you get involved with a big one. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive these guys are here on this intermediate speedway at Las Vegas Motor Speedway tonight. 120 laps is the distance. About 15 minutes left in qualifying. Keith Haney still on the pole. So right now, it looks like your top 7 drivers are all chase drivers, Steve. So they're definitely coming in with their A game tonight. No fast repairs, once again, as the league has gone to that rule, which I think is a good one that kind of calms the racing down. But if you do have a mistake, you'll pay for it dearly.
And we are already heading to the grid. So, with that, Al, why don't you take care of the grid tonight? We'll start with the top 10.
I would have on the pole with a 29.679 second lap time of Keith Haney. To his outside of row number 1 will be Joe Mitchell. Starting on the inside of row number 2 will be the Michael Palmer machine, the number 31. To his outside, the number 86 of Brad Hicks. Starting 5th will be Justin McDuff in the Fox Shocks Ford Mustang. To his outside, the number 20, To his outside, the number 14 of Eric Barilli. Starting 7th on the grid tonight will be the number 27 of Chris Samard. To his outside, starting 8th, will be AJ Hamill. Starting 9th is the number 48 of Adam Baker. And starting 10th, David Howard Jr.
Starting in 11th tonight will be the 98 of Kevin Cornelius. Starting in 12th will be the 84 of Lynn McNeese. David Gainforth, the 101 Mr. Clean Machine, is out here in 13th. Jeff Glockner in the 88 will start 14th tonight. James Haney in the number 55 for Georgia Boys Racing will be starting in 15th tonight. The 51 machine of Paul Cohen will start 16th. Dean Viney in that 71 will be starting in 17th. Ryan Gemmel of the number 83 of MB Motorsports will be starting in 18th. The 11 of Daniel Haney driving for Georgia Boys Racing will start in 19th tonight. The 16 of Justin Anderson will start 20th.
Starting 21st on the grid is your league owner, Paul Zada, starting 21st in car number 99. To his outside, the number 91 of Jim Locking. Starting on the number 23 spot tonight will be the 46 of Shane Atkins. And outside of him, the number 65 of Jay Dubuque. These drivers did not post a time in qualifying. Starting 25th will be Lupe Gonzalez. Ivan Jones will start 26th in car number 52. Joe Owens in car number 24 will slated to go 27th. Richard Sudith 28th. Sean Lejeune and Ronald Etheridge rounding out your field.
And they have pulled away from the grid. They are going to take that long, or actually, is it 1 lap or 2 laps here?
It's usually 1 lap here, Steve, so these drivers are gotta get in the game mode right away as we get ready to go with the dropping of the Emerald Silk to this weekend at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And these drivers are hoping for a big cash and so they can go downtown later and have some fun at the casinos.
And a lot of wow, just looking at the field from a long shot, 30 drivers out here. And, you know, we talked about it for a couple of weeks now. It is impressive to see how many drivers continue to come out here. And even though they're not in the chase, they still want to come out here and ruin a night for a chase driver or two.
Yeah, it's bragging rights now, Steve, as these drivers know that there's 12 of them going for a championship. Well, there is 18 of them that are going for just a win as the pace cars going to make the hard left-hand turn. The green flag in the flagger's right hand ready to be flown as we are underway for the Las Vegas 120.
And I'm not sure what was going on with Brad Hicks, but it seemed like he was laying off there on the start. And the 54 of Joe Mitchell will fall behind Keith Haney. Front row has evened things out, but everybody else is pretty much side by side still. The 31 of Michael Palmer will drop to that bottom line as well.
Yeah, we got Justin McDuff and Brad Hicks side by side. Both of those drivers vying for a chase win here tonight as we got them 3 wide behind there as this track is very wide. The apron is not out of bounds this week. So the drivers, and it's interesting to see the different lines through the bumps through 1 and 2. But Keith Haney right out front with his Ford Mustang, number 87, followed closely by Joe Mitchell. 2 names we've said quite a lot in the last few weeks there, Steve.
Yes, we have. They've been very competitive up front. And it seems like, you know, to see this many chase drivers start in the front or in the top 10, it shows how much or how competitive this league was this year. You have pretty much everybody who qualified for the chase running pretty fast out here, trying to basically sign their ticket into the next round.
Yeah, we got a battle for the lead as Mitchell has dropped it to the low side of the speedway. He's going to go downstairs and make the path on Haney. Is Keith Haney going to try to do the crossover? He'll settle back in line. So new race leader on lap number 4, Joe Mitchell, going to the lead.
And that's good to see for Joe Mitchell. He ran into a little bit of car issues or truck issues last night during the Truck Series race. I believe he blew his motor, and he is one of the, he is not a chase driver in the Truck Series, but he immediately came into chat and was very upset about his performance.
The drivers know they have a lot on the line as the top 5, 6 now single file. You got to go back to Adam Baker in the car number 48. That's a side-by-side battle. Back there for the number 7 spot.
And that is with the 14 of Eric Barilli.
Barilli showing the pink colors on there for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And right behind them is the 27 of Samard. So a lot of chasers of the field getting into single file mode. Right now just clicking off his lap, but Baker trying to make a move back on the inside of Barilli.
And while things are kind of starting to calm down here, I've got to say, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like week in and week out, Eric Barilli has one of the brightest cars on the track. And looking at the field, it kind of reminds me of the scheme that the 27 of Chris Samard is running.
Yeah, those guys not sure if they've talked about, they are definitely bright cars. The battle for third shaping up. The 20 of Justin McDuff with the 86 of Brad Hicks in tow. It's going to work underneath the number 11 of Haney down the backstretch. So McDuff up to third. Haney looking for fourth to put, or Hicks looking for fourth as they put the number 31. Excuse me, that wasn't Haney. The 31 of Palmer going in the wrong direction right now, Steve.
Yeah, you get stuck on that outside line. It is definitely not the fastest line here. And you're going to get stuck dropping back. Adam Baker doing everything he can to try to push him towards the front, though.
Those still battle side by side down the backstretch. That time Palmer with a nice run off the corner. But the inside line prevails just a little bit. That time Barilli's going to slide up, open the inside. We're going to go 3 wide off of turn number 4. Baker down low in the lows, 48. He'll wisely back out of it, but that's going to allow Samard to get tucked up underneath his back deck lid of that lows number 48 of Baker. As they run side by side now, getting at that side straight and back out, but Baker definitely looking quick as we got a battle back behind them with the VermontFantasyRacing.com number 18 of Hamill. He's got the driver, I believe that is Corellis on the outside of him. Cornelius working the outside of the 18 of Hamill back there for your 10th spot. So a lot of battling going on right now as Mitchell is starting to open up the gap on Haney, and we got a battle for second shaping up, Steve.
Battle for second. Let's see who that is. That is Keith Haney and Justin McDuff. Go up there and see how that battle is shaping out. And starting to clear up a little bit. We still have Brad Hicks back there. We know Brad Hicks is a late race driver. It's different to see him up here in the front of this pack.
Yeah, usually we don't see Brad qualifying in these races, but with the chase and knowing how important it is to get a good finish here at Las Vegas and get the chase started off right, he decides to qualify tonight. He's sitting there running inside the top 5, and I think he's just content with just riding as they click at the laps off. We already are 12 laps in to this 120 lap contest at Las Vegas tonight.
And Joe Mitchell has led 8 of those laps, the other laps belonging to Keith Haney.
We got one car out of shape, the 18 of Hamill. Got on the apron, got a little bit loose, gathers it back up, but he's going to lose a lot of track position as he was battling the number 98 of Cornelius, as we got Barilli going around McDuff. So I'm not really sure what happened. McDuff went from 3rd He's going to fall back to 5th this time by at the stripe.
Joe Mitchell on that, or not Joe Mitchell, that is Justin McDuff on that inside line. Doesn't quite, I mean, it looked like he started to slide coming off the corner, had to let off, and that is going to put him back in a battle with Adam Baker.
Yeah, I wonder if the tires are heated up. He doesn't seem to have that drive off the corner, but he was pinched to the inside, not allowing it dark. But here comes Samard looking to the outside of that number 20 Fox Shocks Ford Mustang, with Samard looking pretty racy, but the battle up front, I think Haney's got a little bit of a lure hooked to the back of that Toyota Camry of Joe Mitchell as the gap between first and second starts to close.
And Brad Hicks still trying to hang in there, sitting in third place right now. He is sitting 4 seconds back from Keith Haney, or not 4 seconds, he is 0.4 back from Keith Haney. And now you have Eric Burley coming on that high side, trying to make the pass on him.
I think as you're going to see, as the track starts to heat up, these drivers are going to start searching the high side, low side, looking for that cool track, looking for the grip as Samard goes downstairs underneath the 20 of McDuff. So that'll put Samard up to 5th and knocks McDuff back to 6th right now. Or excuse me, that'll be for the 7th spot. So Chris Samard making his way up to the front. But up front, Keith Haney up on a high, wide, and handsome. Side by side off of turn number 2. Haney in the 87 is going to take over your race lead, Steve.
And it was only a matter of time with how much Keith Haney was ticking off with Joe Mitchell right now. And now, can Keith Haney, after sitting back for a while, how much tires does he have left? Can he get a lead here and pull away from Joe Mitchell?
It's interesting. I wonder how much Mitchell was pushing, or if it was kind of a surprise to Mitchell that Haney was able to work the outside the way he is. He's really running a line all by himself up there, Steve. No one's really able to duplicate what Keith Haney's able to do on the outside, as now the 54 of Mitchell is trying to just run in his tire tracks. As we got a chaser in trouble on the backstretch. David Danforth went around on the backstretch with Michael Palmer, so 2 guys going around as they're coming back up to speed, so we stay green. But early trouble for 2 chasers, Steve.
No caution, though. I mean, we've been caution-free so far, and I expect these guys to go a long time before getting a caution tonight.
It'll definitely be interesting if we start getting into green flag pit stops. If we can make it through the pit cycle, or if that we'll get a yellow during the pit cycle. That'll be interesting to find out. As we're coming to just 100 laps to go in this race, and the top 2 have kind of separated themselves. Hicks runs 3rd, Barilli is 4th, and Adam Baker rounding out your top 5 is really the top 10 have all pretty much settled out single file.
Where our first, here we go. We go back to Shane Atkins in the 46 and Lupe Gonzalez back here battling for the 12th position. That is our first battle we really see on the track.
And Atkins with a nice run from the center off. He's going to clear the 53 of Gonzalez down the backstretch. So that's I think that outside is starting to come in, as I'm seeing a lot of drivers starting to venture up there and able to make some moves as these tires are wearing out a little bit. Back behind them is the battle for around the 15th spot with the 18 of Hamill, as he's made a nice recovery. He got on the apron earlier in this race, went back to the mid-20s, and he's already back up fighting for the 16th spot as he's going to go around the 51 of Cohen.
And now he has the 99 of Paul Zoda right in front of him.
Yeah, they'll be side by side this time through turns 1 and 2. Zoda on the outside, Hamill on the inside. Zoda with that momentum on the outside. So I think on exit of the corner, Steve, if I'm one of these drivers and I'm paying attention early in this race, I want to be on that outside coming off. You get that momentum, you're able to clear people. And I think that's what, from being a driver, I drove the setup a little bit to see what these drivers were handling. The setup really is nice. It's a little bit free on entry in turn 1 on new tires, but it really starts coming in together through the corner. So these guys are able to carry a lot of speed, but we're already seeing that the pace is almost down 2 seconds from qualifying.
Yeah, as traditional here at Las Vegas, you know, those high banking short corners that they almost have here, it tears those tires up pretty good. You know, it makes you almost, how high the turns go, it almost kind of reminds me of Bristol in a way, but you know, it is a faster track, so you are going to be out there, and just keeping that grip into the corners, it takes a lot.
It really does, and I think as the later this race goes on, these guys had a little bit of practice where they're able to lay down some rubber, but I think as the more the rubber gets laid down, obviously you can't get up out of where it's dark, but I'm already seeing the upper group starting to darken in a little bit, and I'm back up front watching the race lead as Mitchell has really gone to school behind Haney, and he's right there about 2 car lengths off the back bumper of the 87 of Keith Haney, but he's right in his tire tracks, trying to study, trying to figure out, all right, where am I a little bit better than the 87, maybe making some mental notes for later on as they got Gainforth right in front of them. So we're already started in the lapping process as Gainforth and Palmer will be the first 2 cars to go down a lap. It looks like as those guys were in trouble early a few laps ago.
And those guys just have to remember, they can get their lap back. They've got to take their time and not cause an issue here. David Gainforth right now in that lucky dog position. If a caution were to come out, he'd be right back on that lead lap.
Yeah, he would need it to happen quickly because right in front of the race leaders is the 31 of Michael Palmer. So 2 drivers that are in the chase already, well, 1 down a lap or 1 about a half a corner in front of your race leaders. So it's quite interesting. You got Haney and Mitchell running the outside. You got Hicks running the inside. Then you go back to the battle for 4th, which is shaping up. You have Baker looking on the inside of Barilli. So a lot of action going on as these drivers are starting to get into their rhythm as we're going to complete lap 27, putting 28 up on the board.
We are still watching this battle that Adam Baker's in. He is going to clear the 27 of Chris Simard. Can he hold on to it coming out of the corner? Because Chris will have a run. It does look like Chris is going to plant that front bumper. Oh, never mind. Adam Baker will clear him. And now you have the 7 of David Howard Jr. on that bottom line.
Yeah, but here comes Simard right back to the outside. They're going to be door panel to door panel off of turn number 4. But look at the run Simard gets. He's going to pull to the outside corner panel. He's on the right rear quarter panel of Adam Baker. So he's got that run on the outside. Can he keep the momentum up? That shows how important the momentum is. Look at it. Simard is going to go right past Baker. So pick up 2 spots in a matter of a corner, Steve. I'm telling you, that outside is starting to come in, and I think that's where you want to be.
Yeah, I imagine that these guys are going to prefer that outside line as the run goes on. You're going to be able to stick that car more to the ground, and it's not going to chew your tires up as much. We're seeing a lot of guys still stick to that bottom line, and we're seeing them fall off as they stick it down there too much.
And it's interesting, iRacing gave the drivers the option of using the brake bias. So as your fuel burns off, some drivers like to move the brake bias to the front, some like to drive it to the back. That just helps free the car up a little bit. And it's interesting to see maybe some of those adjustments coming into play right now as we are 31 laps in. I think these drivers can go around 35, 40 laps on a tank of fuel, I believe. So it'd be interesting to find out if we're going to start seeing leaders. So we got a battle up front, Steve, going in the turn number 1. Mitchell to the inside of the 87 of Haney.
And Keith Haney will get the runoff on the corner, but can Joe Mitchell hang in there? And it doesn't look like he will. Keith Haney clearing him by a big margin there.
He's gained about a 2-car length advantage into the corner, but look at Mitchell close right back up. So Mitchell's definitely gone to school behind the 87 of Haney. And you got Hicks there about 10 car lengths off the back of those. We got one car in trouble. Is that Gamel in the 83 slow on the apron, Steve?
That is Ryan Gemmel. I didn't see what happened to him. Is he going to the pits? He is taking it to the pits.
So another chase driver, I believe.
Or maybe they're starting their green flag pit stops. Adam Baker has brought it down pit road.
So I think these drivers are starting to hit the point where now we're going to start seeing some strategy come into play. These guys are roughly about 2 seconds off of what they qualified in qualifying. So it'd be interesting to find out, that's a lot of time. You stay out on old tires, people start pitting, you give up a lot of track position.
And I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Las Vegas race that NASCAR had in the spring. We were seeing drivers in that race pit about 30 laps each pit cycle. I know their tires probably were burning up a little bit more than these guys out here tonight, but they were doing about 30 laps, coming in, getting fresh tires, and taking off.
We got Brad Hicks and Chris Samard coming to pit road. Samard coming in a little bit hot in that 27X side, but they look like they got it down to pit road speed. One other car coming in behind them, but some drivers in the top 5 coming down pit road. Right now, the 86 of Brad Hicks, he's going to make the hard left-hand turn into his pit stall, and Chris Martin as well. So I imagine 4 tires will rip the tear off and fill her up with that Sunoco race fuel.
And here comes your top 2. So we got a lot of pit stops going on now, as the top 5 is now all pitted, and that's going to give the lead up to Eric Barilli if he elects to stay out there. Oh, he has brought it down pit road as well. But really, it looks like the whole field coming down pit road right now.
Yeah, and I think this is going to shape out to being Adam Baker going to be taking over the race lead, because he passed Keith Haney on pit road. So this time by should be your race leader. So like I said, that's a lot of time made up by the 48 of Baker, I believe. Be interesting to see how this all shakes out, as Haney is just coming off of pit road in the middle of the corner, so Baker's easily going to get by them. So it'll be interesting to find out if Baker is going to get your race lead. I believe he's going to, and that's going to put Howard up to second. So great pit strategy by pitting a few laps earlier. That's how much time was given up by the race leaders by not pitting when Baker did.
Paul Cohen did get a lap lead. He stayed out 1 lap longer than these guys, and he brought it down pit road, able to cross that start-finish line before Adam Baker caught the field. So Adam Baker is scored as your leader. He didn't get a lap lead quite yet, but he is up front. He should get this lap lead, because we will not see him come down pit road.
Adam Baker working off turn number 4. He's working underneath the 65 of Jay Dubuque. And I believe, so yeah, that's going to put Baker up there. He's got a 1.5 second lead over David Howard Jr., 3 seconds back to Joe Mitchell. Keith Haney deep down in the field right now, so about 12. So a bad pit stop for Keith Haney. Something wrong with the 87. So looks like Keith Haney's coming back off pit road, Steve. Maybe a speeding penalty on pit road. Some kind of pit road violation, but he's 1 lap down now.
Yeah, we did see him slam on his brakes going into the pits, so I'm wondering if maybe he got popped going a little too fast coming off the pit road.
So that's a tough break right now. He's back to the 25th, your earlier race leader, one of the cars that dominated. Back to 25th, 1 lap down. So big shake-up that round of pit stops as we take a look at your top 5. Adam Baker has a 1.3 second lead over David Howard Jr. Joe Mitchell is 3rd. Chris Samard and Brad Hicks rounding out your top 5. So big mix-up there in the top of the field there, Steve.
Yeah, it was, and that shows you, how much one pit stop can change the whole dynamic of the race.
Definitely, and if you can charge that pit, come in the pit road just right, you and the other people have a little bit of an issue, or even have an issue with getting down to pit road speed and caught. It really makes a difference where you can gain, a half a second just by your entrance on the pit road and exit the pit road. It's really a green flag stop chart. Everybody's like, oh, it should be pretty easy. I tell you, there's an art to it, and it's really hard to master it. And it looks like Baker and Howard have done that.
Now, from a driver point of view, and I know I still struggle with it to this day, do you have a kind of a procedure that I guess you would call it that you go through when you do your pit stops?
Yeah, it starts in practice, Steve. I try to run a 25, 30 lap run and try to figure out, all right, how hard can I charge pit road on the older tires? This pit road's really tricky because it's really on a fast part of the racetrack coming off of turn 4. And you really got to hang the left. You got to hang a left really hard and get on those brakes without really upsetting the car. And coming off the banking and onto the flat apron, it can really upset your car. You can spin out, you can clip the cone, get the pit cone violation. So it's a matter of repetition and practice and over the years knowing of how to do it. And also marking on the wall. I always look for a marking. So I always look for the green light off of the turn 4, and I have a depth perception, and I'm like, all right, this is where I need to start braking. There's markers on the racetrack. You'll see as they go back through turns 3 and 4, there'll be little markers on the track. I use those to the start, but it's all about how hard you can charge pit road and when you can get there. As we got a battle for third shaping up between Howard and Mitchell.
And let's take a look back at that battle. Joe Mitchell is actually in front of David Howard Jr. now.
Okay, he got that nice run off of turn number 2. He was able to clear him, so about 3 laps fresher on the tires. Right now, they're about 2 seconds behind Adam Baker in that 48, so it'll be interesting about, wow, so Mitchell is able to jump in about a half a second that lap, so it'll be interesting to see those 3 lap fresher tires are that much better.
And we are starting to see a little bit of Adam Baker's time slip away.
And it's kind of the trade-off that you take when you pit in a little bit early. As that time another 3/10 was taken off by Joe Mitchell. So right now, wonder if Adam Baker is just kind of riding, not really pushing it, trying to save those tires, knowing that the drivers behind him have a little bit more of a fresher tire set underneath their car. I mean, it's only a few laps, but it's imagine a cheese grater. You have a brand new piece of cheese and you have a piece of cheese that you have been sawing on that cheese grater for a while. Pretty soon you're going to get into your fingers. So right now Mitchell trying to get all the good out of the tires now he's down within under a second of your race leader. So right now I think Baker's in conservation mode and Mitchell is charging right now. As looks like we're going to have a battle for the race lead coming off 4.
As Joe Mitchell's got to get around the lap traffic of Paul Cohen first. Look at that, Paul Cohen will go high, giving up that space to Joe Mitchell. And he is catching Adam Baker fast here.
Yeah, it's down to less than a couple car lengths, but right now Cohen is Baker's best friend, but they are both chasing down Adam Baker. So what if there's an issue on the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet? As he's given up a lot of time, as Mitchell's right there now, all over the back bumper.
And let me check here really quick because he was one of the first cars to come down pit road. Adam Baker pitted on lap 32. Joe Mitchell waited to pit until lap 35. So Joe Mitchell definitely has 3 laps of fresh tires. He hasn't caught Adam Baker just quite yet.
No, and Adam Baker's got his hands full with that SpaceX number 51 of Cohen. Cohen trying to race his way back onto the lead lap, but he's going to give the spot up now to Joe Mitchell, but Cohen was all over the back bumper of Baker, and I don't think Baker really appreciated that. So now it's your top two run nose to tail. We're going to have a battle off turn number 2.
So Joe Mitchell to that inside line will take over the lead, and he's going to beat Adam Baker coming off the corner, and he will get another lap led, and this is his 14th lap led tonight.
Just gotta wonder if Baker's tires are just giving up. If he pushed it too hard trying to open up some ground, as Mitchell just went by him like he was standing still, and now is starting just to pull away. Howard's back there in third. Chris Smart and Brad Hicks rounding out your top 5. So right now, pretty much your top 10 are all chasers up for your 7th place runner of Kevin Cornelius. So the chasers really stepping up their game here tonight at Las Vegas, as Cohen's still having issues trying to get by the 48 of Baker, but you got to believe Baker wants to keep that 54 right in front of him so he can see him.
And as we're getting near the halfway point, Al, why don't we go through the where everybody's sitting right now?
Yeah, right now Joe Mitchell taking over your race lead, clicking off laps. Adam Baker is second, followed by David Howard in that number 7 car. Chris Samard in the X side, Ford Fusion, and Brad Hicks as they do battle back there for your 5th spot. They're side by side. Eric Borelli is 6th. Kevin Cornelius is 7th. Lupe Gonzalez, who started 25th, is up to the 8th spot. Justin McDuff is 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Len McNeese. So there's your top 10, Steve.
Ronald Etheridge started way back. Actually, he started dead last, now in 11th. James Haney started 15th tonight, now in 12th. Ivan Jones started 26th up to 13th, trying to catch up with his teammate, Eric Barilli. Jim Locking started in 22nd, now in 14th. AJ Hamill has worked his way back up the field, now sits in 15th. Sean Lejeune is currently sitting in 16th after starting in 29th tonight. Daniel Haney is now sitting in 17th. Paul Zoda is up in 18th. Dean Viney in 19th, and rounding out your top 20 right now is Justin Anderson in 20th.
Yeah, Justin Anderson is your first car, 1 lap down, followed by Paul Cohen in 21st. 22nd belongs to Jeff Glockner. David Ganforth, one of your chase drivers, sits there in your 23rd spot, 1 lap down. Keith Haney, another chase driver, 24th, 1 lap down. Then your first car 2 laps down will be the 31 of Michael Palmer. J.D. Buke runs 26, 4 laps down. Shane Atkins 5 laps down to 27th. And Ryan Gamel with issues early, 12 laps down to your race leader. And Richard Sudeth and Jake Owen rounding out your field, not even making 1 lap yet tonight in this field. So there's your 30, how they run as we work up on the halfway point of this 120 lap affair at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Joe Mitchell still hanging on to that lead for the moment.
Play where the action's been hot and heavy is back there for your 5th spot is Dave Howard Jr. not wanting to give it up, but Chris Samard goes downstairs down the front stretch. These drivers have been duking it out like they're at the Grand Casino down in downtown at the boxing arena. They're side by side through turn 1 and 2 once again. Give the advantage to Samard, but here comes Howard back to the outside, as they're going to still run side by side back behind the battle of Hicks and Barilli. So they're side by side in the turn number 3 once again. Give the advantage this time to Howard, but here comes Samard back. It's a tug of war off turn number 4.
And really, we've had close battles between the whole top 5 and top 10 tonight.
We really have, and it looks like Samard tried to get it done as Howard's going to come back on the outside. All this battling that we're showing right now is all behind the race leader, Joe Mitchell, by almost 2.5 seconds, Steve. So the battle right here for fifth, the best one on the racetrack right now, and it's all Howard and Samard putting on a show for this sellout crowd at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Joe Mitchell now out to 23 laps led tonight as we come to the halfway point. Still haven't had a caution tonight.
No, it's definitely been a good race. We had a couple of cars do some south spins on the backstretch, but we're able to keep it clean and green. As right now, everybody on the side of the top 7, top 10 have pretty much single filed it out. As it's hard to believe we're already 60 laps in this 120 lap race at Las Vegas.
Yeah, you get on a track like this, you don't have cautions. This thing goes by pretty quick.
Just noticing coming off pit road was the 11 of Daniel Haney. So another chase driver having issues as we got a battle for your number 2 spot as Baker. As we got trouble. Howard Jr. hard in the inside wall on the pit road, Steve.
He is still driving that thing, but I imagine he's going to have a black flag. Did you say he came off? Let's take a look to see what happened to him exactly. And it looked like it was a late decision to pit. Locked him up, spun it, didn't get a penalty. So luckily he didn't get penalized for that mistake there, but though it is going to drop him back.
That's going to cost them a lot of time coming the pit road. We've about hit the pit cycle window as Lupe Gonzalez also was coming down pit road. So it's interesting to see when we're going to start seeing these race leaders coming to pit road.
And since we have hit the halfway point, Al, let's go ahead and take a step away really quick. These guys are getting ready to take their pit stops. We'll take one step away. That way we can grab something to drink here for the remainder of this race tonight. Switch.
And welcome back to MaxSpeed TV as we are here with the Lazy Days Racing Xfinity Series as the race 1 of round 1 for the chase as we look at Joe Mitchell, your current race leader, as a lot of the top 10 guys have started to come to the pit road as Mitchell is slowing down. So he's going to make the hard left-hand turn, which we've seen to be tricky as he's going to make it down pit road as this race has been green for the first 68 laps. So Mitchell giving up a over 3-second race lead as now Eric Barilli will take over your race lead, but your race, the 54 of Joe Mitchell being dominant here tonight as he gets ready to pull into his pit stall. 4 tires going to go on the Toyota Care 54 Camry. And Steve, it's been one of those races where it's got a real green look to it. Hopefully it'll stay that way.
And we are seeing Brad Hicks slow down and take it to pit road now. You know, I'm looking at where the drivers sit right now. And once this all cycles through, I think Adam Baker is going to be up back out front.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these drivers right now as cycling through. They're only showing 10, maybe 9 cars on the lead lap, but your race leaders are going to be starting to pit as Baker's going to go back by the number 54. So it depends how much ground he can give up. We saw earlier in the race that Baker jumped out to a really good sized race lead, but then gave it up with a tire fall off. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen right now and how many cars are going to be left on the lead lap, and if we can stay green right now. So we're really showing your race lead, but it looks like Brad Hicks is sitting in second. Justin McDuff is third. So wondering if those guys had come to pit road yet.
Eric Burley is on pit road right now. That is going to give the lead up to Paul Zoda. Brad Hicks right now is back in ninth, and I believe he took his pit stop just before, or across the start-finish line in third that last lap. So right now your top three is Paul Zoda, Adam Baker, Joe Mitchell.
Because I think when it cycles all out, you're going to be right. You're going to be about a second and a half difference between the Lowe's Chevy of Adam Baker and the Toyota Camry of Joe Mitchell. As Chris Samard and a new player up there, Dean Viney, is up there, and Keith Haney, which I don't think has come down pit road yet, but remember earlier had those pit troubles getting on the pit road, Steve. So it's all about not having the issues and being able to come on and off pit road without any issues, as we saw that bite the 87. One of the early race contenders as your race leader is headed to pit road now. The 99 of Paul Zoda coming down pit road at a slow 50 miles an hour.
And that is going to give up the lead quick to Adam Baker coming around turn number 4. Can he cross that start-finish line? He is going to cross it before Paul Zoda gets to it. So he will be scored as our race leader once again. Lap 14 laps led for Adam Baker. But how long can he hold off the 54 of Joe Mitchell?
Yeah, right now it's a 1.2 second gap between first and second, and you're going to be about 5 seconds back to your third place runner of Chris Samard in that 27. David Howard Jr., which I thought was going to lose a lot of ground, which if you talk about real estate on the racetrack, he's lost a lot of ground to the leaders, as he was within striking distance before he kind of just lost the handle coming to pit road. It's how tricky this pit road here is at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As we're working lap 73, looking to put 74 up on the board. So about 6 seconds separating second from first to third right now, and less than a second separating your top two. So I would definitely say that Adam Baker and Joe Mitchell have been the class of the field tonight, Steve.
Yeah, we thought we were going to have Keith Haney up here for a while. And then Keith Haney had an unfortunate race incident earlier on in the race.
Yeah, he got caught speeding on pit road. It was either on entry as he really charged pit road. I thought he was going to be clean, but it must be the pro system had caught him, as Baker starting to have electrical issues. A little bit of flashing on the Adam Baker 48 car. That's going to allow Mitchell to close in. Half a second down is your race lead to half a second between your top two. I just got thinking, Steve. I'm sitting there thinking Baker's been up front the last few weeks, thinking he was in the chase looking to strike first, and he's looking to play spoiler.
Yeah, Adam Baker he ran into a lot of electrical issues early on in the season, was able to pull those in, and he's been out here driving pretty competitively since getting his car issues fixed.
Okay, but he's getting challenged right now as a Toyota 54 of Joe Mitchell. Mitchell going to take over the race lead to a familiar spot as they look to put down the number 11 of Daniel Haney a lap down. So another chaser going a lap down. Once the leaders get by him, that's going to leave 16 cars on the lead lap. So these guys are really setting the pace. Green flag pit stops are really putting into effect, and it's hard to believe we almost got 40 laps to go and no yellow yet. Great racing being shown here in the Lazy Days Xfinity Series in the Southern Motorsports. So great racing, great drivers here in this league.
And I'm looking at the driver roster right now. We did have 2 drivers not grid tonight. Richard Suddeth in the 95 and Joe Owens in the 24. But other than that, every driver is still on the track. You have
everybody
Ryan
taking
Gemmell,
care of their equipment.
You have Ryan Gemmell 14 laps down, and he is still on the track.
Yeah, he got in trouble earlier, Steve. Not really sure exactly what had happened to him, but he's definitely going to be looking for a rebound as we head into next week, or he's going to be on the outside looking in. As we're going to eliminate 4 drivers next week when we go to the high banks of Talladega.
Yeah, and that makes, when you do a 16 and 12, or when you start with 16 and you go to 12 and then you go to 8, you have a couple weeks in that gap where you can drop a race here or there and still be able to compete for the next round. Here it is, you have 2 weeks. You better have 2 good races or you will not be on the next round.
Yeah, and Talladega being next week's race, it's kind of a wild card. It's like going to the casino here in Las Vegas and putting all your money, all your chips on black, and it ends up going red. And that's what can happen in a hurry, especially next week at Talladega. So these drivers, knowing that they needed to have a decent run, you don't need to absolutely win, as a win does not secure you into the next round, but you do need to have a good finish to kind of give you a little bit more of a points night, as these drivers are just trying to stay alive. As we're 12 are in now, after next week we're going to cut the field down 4, so we'll have 8 drivers remaining after next week. But right now, Joe Mitchell looking to make it all his races. He's still out front. He's opened the gap up to 1.5 seconds. The battle is starting to shape up deeper in the field back there for your 7th, 8th spot between Lupe Gonzalez and Kevin Cornelius. That looks like to be the closest battle on the speedway right now.
We are looking through the field here really quick to see where we have a battle, and really everybody is spread out like you were saying. Lupe Gonzalez has the 65 of Jay Dubuque, who is 5 laps down behind him.
Just looking at some of our chasers that have not started off this chase very well. As we mentioned earlier, Ryan Gemmell with issues early. He's out on the racetrack, but he's 13 laps down in that number 83. The next chase driver I find is 25th, 2 laps down, of Michael Palmer. He had a spin down the backstretch earlier with David Gainforth. So those 3 drivers, Gainforth is 1 lap down in 22nd. Dean Viney is 19th, 1 lap down. Daniel Haney 1 lap down in 17th. So those drivers right there are going to need a big rebound next week. As then we move up the chase field, the next chase driver, it looks like to be Keith Haney. Keith is down 1 lap too, back in 21st there. So a lot of chasers down and towards the middle. It's like they're kind of split in half tonight, Steve, as the driver, 9th place is the number 20 of Justin McDuff. He's a chaser. He sits 9th, and then you move up to David Howard. Your top 6 are all chase drivers. So it's going to be tough to make it into the next round without a little bit of help.
And is Keith Haney is sitting 5th right now in those chase drivers, correct?
Yeah, he's.
Oh, he just got involved. He's down on. We were just watching him. Wow, what a save by Keith Haney.
And no yellow, but he's definitely slow. What a save by the driver in the 87. He was 21st at the time of that is Gainforth, the driver coming up to his back bumper, about 15 car lengths back. He is the next driver in places. We got a wreck on the front stretch. The number 60 of Ronald Etheridge getting involved. Not quite sure who that was involved with, but no yellow. But that's definitely going to drop him out down the standings to 15th.
And things are starting to get testy here. Lap 88. And we're starting to see a couple guys get involved in wrecks, but able to keep it on the track and keep the green out.
Yeah, good driving by everybody. Is trying to... It looked like it was the 60 was trying to get the pit road. And then just collected the number 91 of locking. So tough brakes there. It looked like the 60 was trying to get the pit road, Steve, but it's all been Joe Mitchell's opened it up almost to 4 seconds. So that car is on rails right now.
We'll see if Jim Locking comes to pit road this time around. Or he is on the backstretch right now. So let's go ahead and go forward to Joe Mitchell, who is in the lead, and he's got a 4-second gap back to Adam Baker.
Showing how dominant he is. He's come to play. He's come to show these guys that he's ready for the championship. But what a dominant performance by that Toyota here tonight, as he's looking as Gainforth going to pull it down on the pit road. As the field is just so spread out. The green flag pit stops really spreads the field out. It really comes down to strategy. And I think Joe's on the best strategy right now.
Yeah, and are we going to see Adam Baker pit early again here? Because we've seen that work in his favor the last couple times. And if he gets one more early pit stop, can Joe Mitchell get back in front of him after his pit stop?
I mean, Joe Mitchell right now has a 4-second lead over him. So I think Baker looks like he's slowing down. He's going to be coming the pit road this time, Steve. So the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet Camaro on the pit road at 50 miles an hour, which is crawling. So right now, this is our third pit cycle. Last time we'll see these cars on pit road, unless we see a yellow, which these guys are really starting to amp up the intensity level. Right now is Baker's going to pull into his pit stall and probably take 4 tires and fill the fuel tank full of that Sunoco race fuel.
Coming down the pit road. And does Eric Barilli stay out now? That'll give... No, Eric Barilli is coming down as well. Your next driver will be Kevin Cornelius. And he will be showing as the leader when he comes around. And actually, will he get a lap led? He will not get a lap led, but he is shown in the lead right now, with David Howard Jr. and Justin McDuff in third, Lupe Gonzalez fourth, Joe Mitchell still sitting in fifth.
Yeah, Joe Mitchell has his left sides up, putting them on. The pit crew's gone and away. Quick pit stop for that number 54 Toyota crew. But let's see how much ground he's going to give up. As I think he's still going to hold on to your race lead after we get done with this pit cycle. As I don't see Baker coming back around to pass him yet. So he might even grow his lead a little bit more.
Kevin Cornelius had a spin coming on the pit road, able to gain control of it and stay in front of David Howard. Adam Baker just got back on that lead lap. I believe he took 4 tires. So this will make things interesting. Does 4 tires beat 2 here?
Definitely be interesting. I think 2 is a gutsy call, but I think you got to do something at this point. Right now, your race leader, the number 20 of Justin McDuff, but I would have to imagine that we will be seeing that number 20 on the pit road pretty soon, unless he's a little off sequence. But he's got the 86 of Brad Hicks coming up to his back bumper, and the lap time suggests that he hasn't pitted in a while. Steve, so I think it looks like the 20 is starting to, he moves to the inside. I think we're going to see the 20 on pit road this time off 4.
Well, let's go over to Justin McDuff does come down pit road. That's going to give the lead up to Lupe Gonzalez. Now we've seen Lupe kind of save his gas as races go on. Did he save here, and is he going to stay out the remainder of this race?
I think it's a little bit stretched. I think Lupe was in around lap 85, 86, somewhere around that range. So I don't think he can make it on fuel. As we talk about him, he's coming to pit road, Steve.
And that'll give the lead up to Sean Lejeune if he doesn't come down pit road. It does look like Sean is coming down pit road, so James Haney is your next driver. James Haney bringing it down pit road.
Yeah, so that's going to leave the lead back here to the dominant car, Steve, of Joe Mitchell. I got to say, he's been pretty dominant. He's got almost a 3-second lead over Chris Simard right now.
And Adam Baker, 4.3. And actually, that time is dropping. So maybe those two tires are coming into play here.
So now everybody wants to know, will we see that yellow? We are working lap 98, so not just a little bit over 20 laps to go, or 30 to go. So it's going to be close. I think they can make it all on fuel, Steve. But it'll be interesting if we see a yellow, what people will do.
Yeah, I would think, if the leader doesn't pit, you've got to stay out, because there is no way that you're going to be able to make up through the field with less than 20 to go.
Yeah, right now with the green flag pit stops, it leaves 12 cars on the lead lap, and the last car on the lead lap is right in front of your race leader, the 84 of Len McNeese. He's about to go a lap down as he's got Mitchell right to the back bumper off of turn number 4. So Mitchell really setting the pace, knocking a lot of drivers off the lead lap. I've been really impressed with Joe tonight.
And Chris Simard still back there, 2.8, and Adam Baker is clipping 3.9. So this is going to heat things up, really. I mean, as we come to the 20 to go.
Yeah, right now, last lap, I will check it at the line this time. But it was Baker 0.2 quicker than Simard. So that time we ran a 37, and Baker ran a 32, so about equal that time. But Baker was definitely a little bit quicker the last time by.
And we did have our first car taken behind the wall. Ronald Etheridge in the 60 did take it behind the wall. He is now scored as 10 laps down. Ryan Gemmel, we saw him stick in this race almost all race, 15 laps down. He's got a shot to make up a position tonight.
Yeah, right now, I like the mentality of the 83 camp. Got in the trouble earlier, got laps down, fixing, repairing some damage that was sustained. As we got that caution out on the speedway.
Who was it? I'm not really seeing.
It's on the front stretch. As we were just talking about him, we are cursing him tonight. Ryan Gemmel bringing out our first caution. Not quite sure what happened, but he's the reason for the yellow. So that's going to really play in the strategy now.
Let's take a look to see what happened to Ryan Gemmel here. We are on the wrong driver. He did hit that
was off
wall.
turn number 4, Steve.
He clipped the apron.
Yeah, he clipped the apron and almost had it saved. And I can't tell if that was the 31 of Palmer or the 11 of Haney. But he kind of just got into the side of him, and around she went. So our first yellow coming out for the 83 of Ryan Gemmel. That's going to bunch up the field right now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens? What if these guys are going to come down and pit? As we saw them on pit road about 15 laps ago.
And Ryan Gimmel is bringing it down pit road. He doesn't look like he blew the engine, but he's going to have a lot of damage on that car.
And your top 3, top 4, making your top 5 all coming down pit roads. I think we're going to see all your race leaders coming down to pit road to take 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles and Sunoco fuel, just in case. But I think they're going to be safe on fuel. But it's going to definitely be interesting. We'll see maybe some 2-tire calls to try to get out in front of that 54. But I don't think 2 tires was really working that well for Chris Simard.
So where do they come off? Joe Mitchell off quick. And it looks like Adam Baker will be coming off in the 2nd spot. Chris Simard's going to drop back to 3rd. Eric Burley 4th. And Brad Hicks is still in 5th. David Howard Jr. comes out in 6th. Did Kevin Cornelius beat Justin McDuff off? AJ Hamill making up some times. Now sitting in 11th. Keith Haney in 12th.
And getting a lucky dog that time was the 84 of Len McNeese. So 12 drivers back on the lead lap. Plus, if we have any drivers to stay out for the wave around, get back on that lead lap. As we have 5 drivers down 1 lap right now, Steve. So rack them up, and we are ready to go. This is going to be an intense restart with 15 laps to go. Right now, your race leader, Joe Mitchell. He's pretty much... He was a little contested earlier by the 87 of Keith Haney, who is back on the lead lap. So maybe Haney can make some noise.
Keith Haney must have had a little bit of damage. He stayed on pit road a little bit longer, got out before these guys came around. But right now, Joe Mitchell is your leader. Would you like to interview him, Al?
Yeah, let's see if we can get a hold of Joe.
All right, let me pull him up here for you.
Joe Mitchell, this is Al Smith up in the Max Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, you've had a very good race. The racing's been very clean out there. We had 3 green flag pit stops. How tricky is it to get on the pit road here at Las Vegas?
It's definitely pretty tricky. I know Keith got nabbed for speeding. I assume he came a little hot in on pit entry. I almost got caught for speeding too. I had to really check up. I had the tires locked up coming in, I think, on my last stop. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more tricky pit roads, that's for sure.
You've definitely had one of the most dominant cars out there tonight. Now with the yellow, everybody bunched up. How wild is this restart, and what are you going to have to do to hold on to for the win?
I think I'm going to have to drive pretty hard here for these last 13 or 14 laps. There's no real slouches in here, so I imagine it's going to be a fight to the finish.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, as it looks like you guys are getting the double up, so we'll let you get back to it. Good luck, and maybe we'll see you in victory lane.
All right, thank you.
And that was Joe Mitchell. As these guys double it up, get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. 14 laps will come to 13 to go as we go back to Green Flag Racing.
So as you heard him, how tricky the pit road really was getting on there. So he almost got nabbed for speeding. That would have changed the whole complexion of this race. I feel like he's pretty confident, I think. But, you know, all these drivers have 4 tires now. So I think we're ready to go green and get this one going. We're going to have about 12 laps to go. So a 12-lap Saturday night shootout coming your way here Wednesday on Max Speed TV.
And can Adam Baker pull off the upset on that outside line? We've seen that outside line develop, and now the pace car getting ready to dip off. We're ready to go back Green Flag Racing out here in the desert. Side by side they go. Green flag is out. Who is going to go first? Eric Burley pushes Adam Baker. Adam Baker's not going to get the run. This 27 of Chris Samard is almost going to clear Joe Mitchell from Adam Baker.
As they're side by side back there for your number 2 spot. Samard now to your number 2 spot. As Barilli's going to make the inside move on Baker down the backstretch. They're all side by side back there behind your top 2. Mitchell out to your early race lead. Now is on this restart, our first restart of the night, as Barilli and Baker side by side, door to door off of turn number 4. Then you got Hicks and Howard back there battling for 5th with McDuff back there with Cornelius. We've got a whole gaggle of cars as they head down to the turn number 1. Samard with a peek down low off the corner. Baker looking to the inside of Barilli as we've got so much action on this restart. We got a race bid for your race lead. Mitchell on the high side, Samard on the inside. They're side by side, wheel to wheel off of turn number 4 at the line. Too close to call. I believe it's going to be
Chris Samard's going to get it.
Race leading the lead. So that was a close one there, Steve. As they're still side by side. Now it's a 4-car battle for your race lead.
Yeah, and Chris Samard almost sent Joe Mitchell up the track. He's going to try to, we're going to have Eric Burley tucking behind the 27, trying to get a lead on the 54, who's going to go side by side next to him. Got the front fender in there. They're going side by side onto the front stretch. Chris Samard dips below the apron, and Eric Burley's dipping in front of the 54. That is how dangerous staying stuck outside is going to be. The 14 is going to move into 2nd, and Joe Mitchell now in 3rd.
And Barilli's going to take a look down low off of turn number 4 with a nice drive off the corner, pushing Samard in the X-side battery 27 to the outside as they're side by side looking almost contact off of turn number 4. Mitchell and Baker back into it. It's a 4-car battle for your race lead. Bumper tag down the front stretch in this D-shape as we're in the desert here at Las Vegas, but the battle is definitely heating up as we got 4 cars racing for your race lead.
Eric Burley's going to back off of the 27. He's now got the 54 working on him. Adam Baker down there too. And Joe Mitchell dropping back to the inside line, getting the run on the 14. They're going to go side by side. It's going to slow up the 54, who is going to drop back and battle with Adam Baker now.
How things have changed is right now it's Chris Samard up front, but here comes the 14 of Barilli. Barilli right to the back bumper as your top 2 have pulled away from that battle for 3rd. But it's Chris Samard showing the way in the X-side. But here comes Barilli. Barilli with a slingshot move down the backstretch to the inside of turn number 3. He'll have to back out of early as you could not even fit a slice of paper between the 2 cars off of turn 4.
And here comes Adam Baker trying to catch up to that front 2. Eric Burley will take the lead for the moment. Can he hold on coming out of the corner? He's got the 27 of Chris Samard, who's going to get the runoff, and Adam Baker's going to try to join that pack up there. Joe Mitchell also tagging along in this front 4. Eric Burley still has that edge on the 27. Can he hold it to the line?
Don't look now, but those 2 running side by side has brought in the next 7 cars. So right now it's a 7-car battle for your race lead as your top 2 run side by side. There's Barilli with a nose out front, but here comes Baker. He's going to go from the high side to the low side. Barilli's going to block that move. That allows Samard to come back on the outside as we got 5 cars under a blanket for first. Contact to 27.
Oh, 27 spinning. He's going to catch it. Oh, he's in the wall.
And Howard is going to move to 2nd. Barilli out front. Hicks up to 3rd. 4th is McDuffin. That's going to put the 48 of Baker back to 5th. So Baker and Samard making contact. Everybody staying green, but that really hurting the momentum of the 27 of Samard as Barilli now takes over your race lead.
So this is turning back into a 2-car battle. The 14 of Eric Burley and the 7 of David Howard Jr. up front, and they have almost a second on 3rd place, Brad Hicks, who's back there with Justin McDuff and Adam Baker.
A little scuffle 1 lap ago has put the 27 of Samard back to your 12th place, but we got a new challenger for your race lead. It's the 7 of Howard in that Razorback, number 7, trying to get underneath the 14 of Eric Borelli. Borelli running the high side, and you got Howard on the inside. Brad Hicks back there in third. They're trying to chase down. He's got Justin McDuff in tow. It's your front two. You couldn't even fit a blanket over them as they run nose to tail into turn number 1. The Desert Sun heating up the racetrack as we move through this with just 3 laps to go. It is Eric Borelli over David Howard. Brad Hicks is third. Justin McDuff and Adam Baker rounding out your top 5.
And we're seeing David Howard go really low. He's almost hugging that inside line into the corners with 3 to go. This thing is heating up. Can David Howard keep up dropping that low in the corners?
At this point, I think it doesn't matter. You only got 2 laps to go, and it's go or now. As he's pulled on the left rear corner panel, we got a bid for your race lead. But really, with the momentum on the outside, even it's going to hold it high, wide, and handsome. Maybe a little too much as he gets the wall, but really down to the apron. David Howard's your new race leader, and that puts Hicks up to second, McDuff to third, Baker, and how about this? Keith Haney, 1 spot out of a podium finish.
And that'll be David Howard's first lap led as the white flag comes out.
Hicks pedaling as fast as he can with his snap-on tools. He's dropping tools out the trunk lid, trying to lighten that car up to get up there, as we got to move back behind them for the 87 of Haney going to 4th, but at this time off of turn number 4. The checkered flag is up. It'll be the 7 of David Howard Jr. striking first in the first chase race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here, try to get the drivers pulled into the booth, and we'll be back with those driver interviews.
And we're back here on MaxSpeed TV as the conclusion of the Las Vegas 120 has come. We've caught up with 3rd place runner Justin McDuff. Justin, you started 5th, ran 3rd here tonight at the end. Talk about the finish. That was quite intense racing on that last restart.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I'm kind of speechless right now because I did not have the car, or I wasn't able to drive the car the way I needed to tonight to finish 3rd, but perfect timing to be able to come in here and kind of steal a 3rd place finish for the start of the chase here. So racing for a championship, I'll take it.
Yeah, the racing definitely looked intense. You had those long green flags to start the race there. That only 1 yellow tonight. How was the strategy trying to make up ground on those live pit stops? It's tough to get in on pit road, but your team did a good job. Talk about your race.
Well, in the beginning, I was bad fast for about 12 laps, and then I think I drove the right front tire right off the car, so about knocked the fence down a couple times, and then I was just trying to settle in and ride. I know a bunch of guys were short pitting and trying to, make up some time and guys in front of them, but my strategy all night was just run it basically dry and then come in and get my tires and come back out, and then at the end of the run make up the spots that I lost because of the guys that pitted before me. And it kind of, the timing was perfect because the way it worked out, I was able to get the track position for the end of the race and that last run. And the last run was the perfect distance for me based on the way I ran the race earlier in the night and the speed I had in my car.
Talk about those last closing laps. We had the 14 of Eric Burley up front. He gets into the fence, and that kind of woes everybody up. And then you're all battling right there together. You could have thrown a blanket over the top 10 cars. How intense was that? And you come home third tonight, so pretty good night. Get the chase started.
Yeah, I mean, those last, whatever it was, 20, 15, 20 laps was pretty crazy. I knew that I was as fast as anyone in a short run, so I was just like, I just got to make sure I pick the right lines, and the guys that get going in front of me are able to keep it going, keep it off the fence. And then right towards the end, the last couple of laps, I almost got the wall a couple times, but I was able to hold Adam off there and bring home a solid third place finish. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish. Who makes it possible for you and for you to come home third? And great start to your chase as we head to Talladega next week.
Yeah, Talladega will be a wild card for sure. I just got to thank my teammate Adam Hamill. It was good to have him back here racing with us. He helped me out a lot tonight. Everyone at the Upstate Racing team for making this possible, and you guys do a good job with the broadcast. And Paul, I know he puts up a lot of BS sometimes from people, and he does a great job running the ship. So a lot of fun tonight, a lot of green flag racing. That's what we like to see.
Well, congratulations again. That's Justin McDuff coming home third tonight. And I believe Steve is caught up with our number 2 position, Brad Hicks.
Let's see if we can find Brad Hicks. He ran away from the green room. One moment here. And I do have him muted. Let me unmute him here really quick. Brad Hicks, you got a copy.
Yo, what's going on?
Well, you do come away with a second place finish tonight. Great start to the chase for you. How was the race out there tonight for you?
It's probably one of the most fun races I had in quite a while. Enjoyed that immensely.
Now, we saw a lot of drivers have issues getting onto pit road here at Las Vegas. Did you have any issue getting onto pit road? And if not, did you practice your pit stops here tonight?
I made a couple runs during practice, but this is probably one of the hardest. This in Darlington. Kansas is pretty tricky too, getting on pit road. You just gotta, I've been there enough in real life to see it, and just gotta be on your toes and not let it sneak up on you, because it'll bite you if you ain't careful.
Now, we saw a different strategy from you tonight. Usually we see you start near the end of the back of the pack. We saw you starting fourth tonight. Was that kind of a strategy going in, or you just thought you would try something new tonight?
It's time to get serious now. I mean, still have fun, but getting in the back. I figured I'd probably qualify in the top 4 or 5. And if I feel comfortable with that, I'll normally qualify. But if I'm going to start 15th or mid-pack or so, I'll just start the back and pick my way through them.
All right.
We'll try to anyway.
All right. Well, next week, you guys head to a completely different style racing. You head to restrictor plate racing at Talladega. How are you at the super speedways?
Not like anybody else. It's just, luck of the draw pretty much. I ain't afraid to get up there and go to the high tide if anybody wants to go. I'll go.
All right. Well, you do come away with, or you started fourth tonight, come away with a second place finish. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just all you guys, man. You and Steven and Al, I think, helping me commentate there, and all the Max Speed guys, Paul, Lazy Dayz, just everybody on the track, man. That was real fun. That's the most fun I've probably had, and I don't remember, can't remember when. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, congrats once again on your second place finish. Something you should be able to celebrate tonight. Go ahead and celebrate that, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and now we'll head on to Al Smith, as he's got David Howard in the booth with us now.
And we're down here in Victory Lane celebrating a first career Xfinity Series win with the Razorbacks 7 Camaro driver of David Howard. David, put the champagne away first of all. Congratulations on your win. Talk us through those last few laps.
Man, it was hair raising for sure, man. I knew we had it. I knew we were faster than Eric. I think he knew it. It was just trying to calm myself down, take some deep breaths, I got a human spotter, and he knew he needed to jump on me there and tell me to calm down because I sure could have made a mistake, but I knew we had the faster car, so it was a hair-raising experience, and luckily Eric made the mistake and we didn't have to try to pass him, so we'll take it how we can get it.
You were definitely applying the pressure there. He was running the outside. You were running around the white line there. Do you think the putting the pressure to him just caused him to push a little bit? And were you planning on going upstairs at all? Because it seemed like everybody was getting a pretty good run off the top side, but it was pretty treacherous with playing Russian roulette with the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, if he would have gave me a chance, I probably could have took the outside. I just thought down in 3 and 4, I had him so well on the inside, man. He was really having to check up, even though he was running the outside. I had him so well in 3 and 4 that I was eventually going to get a good enough run there here in the last few laps. So, but man, down in 1 and 2, he was really pulling that high line and could beat me a little bit there. So, it was kind of either end of the track, could work for whoever. It just depends on what your car wanted. Mine wanted the bottom down there in 3 and 4 for sure.
Well, it was definitely a good run, right spot at the right time. That was really close off of turn 2 when Barilli got into the outside wall. I thought he was going to come down and collect you as well, but heads up driving by you and probably the eye in the sky. But as we get ready to go next week, you are the current points leader. You have a 5-point margin over Brad Hicks. Does that change your mentality going into Talladega at all?
I really don't think so, man. It's Talladega is always one of those places you just don't know what to do. The wrecks happen everywhere, I particularly like to start at the back at those places, but we'll see what my crew chief / spotter comes up with. Terry Isbell is one of the best in the game at it, so whatever he comes up with, I'll go with. I trust his instincts, his calls, and they help put us here in victory lane tonight for sure.
Well, you definitely had a very interesting race. The long green flag runs. Your pit crew getting it done for you. Who else makes all this possible for you?
I want to thank the good Lord above, first of all. Thank Paul Zoda. He runs this league, runs a great league. I see he really likes to keep it clean, and will do whatever it takes to do that. I enjoy that. I think that fits my style. All the guys that put this broadcast on, man, Lazy Days Racing, they're a sponsor. My wife, my daughter, and most of all, really, my crew chief, Terry Isbell, man. He's been deserving a win, man. We've been fast enough to get one of these things since we've been in SoMo plenty of times, and just haven't come to fruition. And tonight, maybe we won one that we shouldn't have. So it all comes around, I guess.
Well, let it sink in. Keep it for a week. Don't party too hard, as this is your first career Xfinity Series win with the Lazy Days Racing Xfinity Series. Savor it. You got a 14-point lead over the cut line headed into Talladega next week. You enjoy this one there, Dave.
Hey, thanks a lot, Al and Steven, man. You guys do a great job. Thanks.
There you have it. Tonight's winner. First career win tonight at the Las Vegas Speedway in the Las Vegas 120. Steve, I know how that feels getting your first win, and he's pretty ecstatic. Those guys were partying pretty hard when I got here in the victory lane.
Yeah, and I have to imagine it was slow motion when David saw Eric snap loose there, coming off of 2 with 2 to go. You got to imagine David just saw that car slowly gliding off the track to see nothing in front of him.
Yeah, like you said, he kind of was just figured he'd finish second there, and he got a lucky break. But I'll tell you, that's what comes into chases and wins races, is that luck. It was a pretty impressive race as we get ready to go to Talladega. Well, let's wrap things up here with the finishing order, Steve.
All right, well, David Howard Jr. will come away with a win tonight, his first win here in the Xfinity Series. Brad Hicks will get a second place finish. Justin McDuff will come away with a third place finish. Adam Baker will finish fourth tonight. Keith Haney will round out your top 5. Going into the rest of the top 10 now, Lupe Gonzalez will finish 6th tonight. AJ Hamill will come away with a 7th place finish. Joe Mitchell will finish 8th. Kevin Cornelius 9th. And Eric Barilli will finish 10th.
Finishing 11th was the 84 of Len McNeese, followed by Chris Samard, who was up front. Tough break for that whole Exide Batteries team. He'll come home 12th. Sean Lejeune will come home 13th. All these drivers were 1 lap or more down. Paul Zoda in 14th. Daniel Haney 15th. Dean Viney 16th. 17th was the 52 of Ivan Jones. David Gainforth was your last car, 1 lap down in 18th. 19th finisher was Justin Anderson, 2 laps down, followed by James Haney rounding out your top 20.
And 21st tonight was Jim Locking. Paul Cohen will take the 22nd spot tonight. Jeff Glockner will take 23rd. Michael Palmer 24th. Shane Adkins coming back for one of his first races in a while here with Southern Motorsports, coming with a 25th place finish. Jay Dubuque will finish 26th tonight. Ronald Etheridge 27th. Ryan Gemmel will come away 28th tonight. Joe Owen and Richard Sudduth did not take the field tonight. And I just got word from Al Smith that we do have the updated point standings. So Al, why don't you go through how our chase is going to look going into Talladega?
Yeah, these drivers, the first few drivers are feeling pretty good headed to Talladega. David Howard Jr., tonight's winner. He will enjoy a 5-point lead over Brad Hicks, who sits second, who is tied with Justin McDuff. So Justin McDuff sitting third. Keith Haney is fourth. He is 7 points out of the points lead. Joe Mitchell is fifth, followed by Eric Barilli, Chris Samard, and Daniel Haney. If the chase was going to be cut down to 8, would be your last driver in. Drivers on the outside looking in right now is Dean Viney, David Gainforth, Michael Palmer, and Ryan Gamel, who is looking on the outside right now, Steve. So definitely those 4 drivers, Gamel, Palmer, Gainforth, and Viney, are going to need some magic next week at Talladega, which I'm nervous for these guys because it's what a wild card race, and to have it be a cut race is going to add even more pressure.
Yeah, and with 30 plus drivers, you could potentially have every single chase driver out of that race come the finish.
Yeah, I mean tonight 18 points from 1st to 8th. So I feel like David Howard Jr. is pretty safe as long as he shows up next week and can make it, 10 plus 10 spots from the back of the field. And you know what happens at Talladega? We get a little bit larger field. Is 30 cars is nothing to sneeze at, but I think we'll see a few more cars next week. So it's going to be right there. We're going to have to keep an eye on Daniel Haney and Dean Viney, only separated by 1 point, 3 points back to David Gainforth in 10th. So in 6 points back to Michael Palmer. So that's all tight right there as we head to Talladega next week for probably one of the most intense races we're going to see this season besides the last one. As we look at the schedule next week, it is going to be at Talladega for 85 laps. So I'm going to bring my safety belt and I'm going to strap in next week because it's going to be wild.
Yes, it will. And with that, I would like to thank everybody for stopping by and checking out the race tonight. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Max Speed TV 3 for more great racing here. And with that, I would also like to congratulate David Howard Jr. once again on his first career victory here in the SoMo Xfinity Lazy Days Xfinity Series. And with that, everybody have a great night, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.